ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಗುರು. ಏನ್ ಸಮಾಚಾರ?
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್, ಆರಾಮು, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ.
Hello and welcome to our first pre-match podcast show. This is a big one. I'm fired up for this one. We
Oh
are
yeah.
here on the eve of RCB versus Mumbai Indians IPL match number 20 in the iconic Wankhede Stadium. We have a lot of storylines to cover, and I think Rahul, for me, I get really excited when there's an IPL match amongst what I call the three amigos. Amigos is it's a joke because the fan bases are the most fond of each other, but I think it's pretty well established now. RCB, CSK, Mumbai, have the biggest fan following. Before anybody gets mad, I'm not saying other teams don't have fans. Everybody has a good fan base, but I think the level and the volume is really high and intense with these three fan bases I mentioned. And anytime they go head to head, we're excited. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, no, definitely a big match coming up. Mumbai, RCB, always a blockbuster, right? Like you talk about, the key matchups, you talk about the big names, it's all there. And it's just so well poised for
Oh
this
yeah,
particular match too, just in terms of where the tournament stands, right? I mean, yes, we can talk about how this is still early, there's a long way to go. But this is sort of when the two parts of the points table starts to like segregate a little bit. And so it is very important to gain that momentum around this time. So this is a big game, even if this was the first game of the tournament, but it just got that much bigger just given the context of the tournament now.
no doubt about it. And I'll add to that. We need to regain the momentum, and
Yeah.
just to show well how well poised things are. Let's get into exactly where things are. So if you look here, I got the points table up, and as you see, we're sitting there at number three. And just like you said, if you take a close look at the points table today, you could see a clear kind of line of demarcation between the top four, all with one loss or less, and the non-playoff teams as we sit here today. So it's a very big opportunity for us to kind of increase our playoff chances and solidify our standing early in the tournament. But we're going against is it fair to say a desperate Mumbai team?
Yeah, I would say so. I think they still want to prove that they have the right balance going in. I mean, big news coming in through just a few hours ago that Boom Boom is raring to go. We talked about that video that they put up where he yards. I think it may be Will Jacks who was practicing in the Mets.
Yeah,
Got yards, bowled, middle stump uprooted. Bumrah is back and looks menacing as ever, right? Like he's a champion. He's just going to walk into any team and just start doing what he does.
yeah,
I think Mumbai needs to prove their balance. Hardik wasn't there. He came back, and they're starting to cook, right? The
yeah,
old Mumbai Indians. This is classic, right? They never win at the start of the tournament. They always peak
yeah,
at the right time. That's
yeah.
just how their culture has been. Jayawardene was there before, wasn't there for a few years with Mark Boucher. Now they're back with Mahela. So makes me a little concerned, right? Because that's
Yeah,
this
definitely.
is it's starting to look like the classic MI, but I'm happy to kind of see some sort of strain in the camp too, with Tilak Warma just getting ousted for, let's be honest, for no practical reason. Like whoever came in, I think Sandler came in and just like stood at the other end. We might as well just kept Tilak and like kept his face, I guess, right? But like
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I feel like these things they do take a toll, right? Like
yeah,
IPL has so much drama. There's so many eyes on you. So I'm hoping that there's a lot of pressure on Mumbai going into this.
yeah.
Um,
I think
but
the team pressure is something we're definitely going to get into in a second here. The table pressure, I think, is also a thing because, like you mentioned, big news coming in with Bumrah. Some other news, probably Rohit will be back in the 11. Seems that his knee is better after getting hit on the knee roll. So looks like, this is going to be Mumbai Indians full strength 11, just our luck, of course, on the
Yeah,
eve of a RCB match. But,
right.
1-4, it's hard to make the playoffs from 1-4.
Yeah.
Teams have made it from 1-7 before. But it's not likely. So I think that Mumbai Indians will be looking to make their move, but so are we, because if you look at the net run rate closely, with the win, if we were to win 4 matches in, we'd be in the top two, which
Yeah.
is exactly where we want to be. So let's get into the team combinations. Uh, I have up here our last match 11, and I have the subs. So you see any changes for us from last match? What do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think we had one bad game. Um, I think it's perfectly poised, to be honest. I think it's a good team balance going into Mumbai. Wankhede, you do get a little bit of swing.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest question is going to be Rasic. Do
Yeah.
we play him? Yes or no? I think Hazelwood and Booby they kind of automatically get themselves in.
Yeah.
I still think Tim David plays just because he's played with Mumbai last year.
He's in
He
good
knows that
form.
stadium. He's in good form too. Exactly. Um, as I said, I think it's Russick, and to go off of like how Mumbai has done at home, um, you know, Deepak Chahar, who I think is a very similar bowler to Bhuvaneshwar Kumar,
Yeah.
bowls up front, bowls in the power play, gets the ball to swing away from the right hander. Hasn't really gotten the ball to do much. I'm not sure if that's Deepak Chahar or that's just the ball not doing a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I think given the conditions, I think we're going to go for the same 11.
Yeah. I can't see any major changes either. The one that I thought is worth at least a thought is that the impact, like if we bowl second, or I guess even if we bowl first, that last bowler after our three seamers, after Krunal, after Livingston, after the main bowlers, that impact bowler, Russick versus Suyash, is the debate that we've had all season. But is Swapnil worth a thought there? He keeps it tight. He bowls pretty flattered through the air. Doesn't get much turn, but he's kind of like a bowler in the Krunal mold. It's a little repetitive, but
Yeah,
I think he's more trustable and less rattled than Suyash. And Russick he's taken a lot of stick to start the season, so I don't think his
right.
confidence is high either. Plus, Swapnil could extend the batting. He's a handy batter down the order, so that's one that I thought they might think about. But I think I agree with you overall. I think it's too early to really start chopping and changing after one loss. So I
Yeah.
think they're going to go with the same 11. And if I had to bet, they're going to go with the Rustic one more time just because of the condition.
The one
Yeah.
thing I would say though is that Mumbai's got a good, sort of combination of like left and right. So we've got Rickelson and Tilak Warner, basically your two left-handers.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the batting is basically right-handed, I think.
Interesting point.
Um,
So you're saying Suyash?
Suryash or even Swapnil, right? Just taking the ball away.
Yeah,
Let's either or. But I
that's a
agree
good
with
point.
you though. Like he's too similar to Kunal, right? But you look at
Yeah.
how India has played their matches. Like Upstar plays with Jadeja, right? They're very similar in terms of what they have to offer. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're a good bowler, you're a good bowler. Doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? So it'll be interesting to see. But I feel like they're going to hold faith. I feel like Andy Flower is the kind of person who's going to show faith and keep the team rolling just to kind of, you know, build some confidence, especially in a young guy like Russell.
I agree. So we basically are saying same 11 and pick one of the three bowlers, Rusik Suyash or Swap Nil for that
Yeah,
impact player. Now
yeah,
let's go to the Mumbai 11. I'm pulling up the last match 11. So, it's going to look different tomorrow because you got to assume that Rohit comes back in for Raj Bawa, and probably Ashwini Kumar makes room for Jasprit. So, if you look at that 11, I think the bowling is definitely fortified. I mean, obviously, the bowling is fortified with the world's best bowler. I hope he's ready because just like Siraj, we're going to need him for England tests. That's a
Yeah,
topic for another day. Is he being rushed back? We're not saying he's not being rushed back. Again, another topic for another day. But we only wish fitness for our man Jasprit. With him, Bolt, Chahar leading the pace attack. And then you have, I guess, a fourth seamer with Hardik, and they'll probably go with Buttur. I'm not sure about Santner. He's not been in great form. I don't know if they're going to bring in
yeah,
someone else overseas, but it looks like a pretty seam heavy attack. The batting, even with Rohit, it doesn't look very intimidating to me based on form.
yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I mean, initial take on batting is that it looks better on paper, just hasn't delivered yet on the big stage, right? Excuse me. Brickleston, fantastic in SA20, did phenomenally well, was picked from his performance there. He plays better when the ball comes on nicely, which it does in South Africa, it just doesn't as well in Wankhede. So I'm not sure it's as effective here as he is there. Rohit seems out of sorts. Like, let's just be honest. I respect him, but he's just not hitting the ball as well as he does. Um, I
Same with
don't think
Jax.
Will Jacks. What's that?
Same with Jax. He seems out of
Yeah,
touch so far. Yeah.
exactly. I don't even know if Will Jacks is good for a number three. I feel like he's an opener, like
Hmm.
opener by nature. I don't know if Rickelson can play three and Rohit and Will Jacks could open for them. Feel like that could be like something that they would do, but I just don't see a threat in terms of like Dilip Warner just wasn't scoring fast enough. Sky, I think you mentioned it, they're heavily reliant on Sky.
Yeah.
His shots are high risk, high reward, but on a good day, those swap like sweeps and reverse hits can go straight down somebody's throat. So um, again, it's Trent Bolt, it's Deepak Chahar, it's Jasprit Bumrah. Jasprit Bumrah just coming back in. Deepak
Yeah.
Chahar not bowling as well. Trent Bolt just not the same as before. Big names just don't have the same threat right now. So I think we may be catching them in that transition period of becoming a solid team.
Hmm.
And I hope that we capitalize on the fact that they are in that transition period.
So in order to best capitalize, you know, I think it's obvious. Like I think we should always do a toss segment, but I think those become more important in India matches or even overseas as to what to do first if we win the toss. But I think if we win the toss, we're gonna bowl.
Yeah.
So there's no point in discussing that. But say we're put into bat first. What can we do to not have the same thing happen as last match, which will be under similar conditions? I have a few thoughts. What are yours?
I can just be a little bit smart about how they went around tackling the power play. I feel like there's so much pressure on themselves about getting that really high score in power play, right? Because you want that 70, you want that 80 for hopefully just a loss of one or two. Um, but I think we maybe need to be smart about it. Just go back to Virat just playing, not as risky of a gameplay as opposed to Salt, who's going to go after it anyway. Padikkal has shown that he has good intent. Patidar obviously is an attacking player too. Like I think we can batter on Virat. We can, push and step back as needed. But I think a lot of emphasis is placed on getting a high score on power play. We just need to be kind of smart about it.
Yeah. I think the key is also the power play, but the you know, I give up on Phil Salt. He's a wild card. He's gonna do what he wants,
Yeah,
and that's fine. We purposely picked him instead of Faf to kind of get that impetus at the top of the order. But I think that Virat is very important tomorrow because he has such a good record against pace.
Yeah.
Good record against Trent Bolt.
Yeah.
Decent record against Bumrah. He's gotten him out a few times, but he has a good strike rate against Bumrah.
Yeah.
And he always gets up for that matchup against Bumrah, and he likes to attack Bumrah really to make a statement. So
Right.
I think that Kohli can help, play a modern anchor role, which is, go at 140 strike rate, 150 strike rate in the power play.
Yeah.
Salt does what he wants, but 60 odd for two is in the power play. If
Yeah.
we're able to achieve that, even if we bat first, I think sky's the limit.
Yeah.
The rest of the way, and I think we can put up a good total, even batting first as the ball calms down in a small ground. So
Yeah.
power play batting is what I'm going to be looking towards. And speaking of power play batting, I have a few matchups I want to go through.
Yeah.
We've kind of touched on this before that, like, if you look at the Mumbai Indians 11, they have a lot of name recognition.
Right.
However, they are not really firing in terms of performance,
Yeah.
specifically Deepak Chahar. I'm going to pull up his numbers so far here. If you look at 2019 at the bottom of the screen there, I mean that's his famous season under MS Dhoni. He took 22 wickets. He was amongst the
Yeah.
wickets. A great
Yeah.
bowling average, great economy rate, going at 7.5. But that those numbers have kind of dwindled a little bit. He's been injured. He was injured and missed all of 2022. He missed half of 2024, a
Yeah.
chunk of 2023. He's back now, but he's going at tens
Yeah.
in four matches. And like you were saying last episode, Phil Salt will probably be licking his lips a little bit to get after Deepak Chahar with these numbers. Deepak Chahar 4 matches, 4 wickets, um, economy of 10. I think he can be had.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think just the fact that he's not getting any assistance and he's excuse me, he's sort of like that confidence bowler, right? Like we talk about Kuldeep being that kind of person. Um, like you need a little bit of assistance to kind of get
Yeah,
himself going. And I feel like Deepak Chahar is that kind of a bowler, right? Like he's not somebody who's just gonna like, okay, like this is not working out. What else can I do? Can I go like cross seam or can I bowl a slower one here? Like he's just not as innovative in
yeah,
those scenarios. And I
yeah.
feel like that's where he gets caught up, right? Like you're absolutely
Little
right.
bit of
Like
little bit of a one trick pony, little bit.
yeah, yeah. And that's I mean, again, when he's on song, he looks fantastic, right? And there's no doubt about it. But I feel like as you said, Salt is gonna you know, capitalize on that and just make sure that he doesn't get back into rhythm. So, it may not be stepping out, trying to negate the swing before it even happens. Just trying to set up a statement. I feel like Salt's that kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah. Can't agree more. I hope because Saul always takes first ball. I
Yeah,
hope he sees off Boomerang so he can get the chance to go after Chahar, second
right.
over on. But I really think that's an opportunity for us tomorrow. As is, oops, that's the wrong graphic here. As is, give me 1 second. Mitchell Santner. Mitchell Santner has actually had one of the more surprising bad tournaments so far. His
Yeah,
numbers are not good. I'm going to pull them up now. And just like we think Deepak Chahar can be had in the power play, I really, really think in the middle overs, our spin hitter, Partikal, who is left-hander, will like the ball coming in. These guys can have their way with Santner. I'm not sure what the deal is with Mumbai Indians Santner. He just hasn't been the same as New Zealand Santner because he's a world
no,
class bowler. But let me
yeah,
pull
and it
up.
wasn't the championship. He wasn't too far, you know, in the past either. So it's not that he had a gap between a good patch and a bad patch, if you will.
Yeah, here's his numbers. What I mean, what do you make of this? I mean, like, is he's taken 1 wicket, so the average is going to look terrible. But he's also going
Yeah,
at nines.
yeah. No, I see. There's something to this, right? If you look at a sampler in a New Zealand outfit, it it's complemented by the fact that you've got Matt Henry. It's complemented by the fact that you got a rookie. Like you've got good bowlers around you, so you can kind of experiment and be a little bit more risky in terms of the bowling. And I think sometimes you become a mediocre bowler more so because you have to be defensive because the bowlers around you are not doing as well as they should. So, for
That's
example,
fair.
you rely on Trent Bowl to take that wicket in power play because that's what he's known for, right? Like the first over, like Trent Bolt always picks up the wicket in the first over. That's what he was known for. He played for Rajasthan for so many years.
That's true.
Um, but when they don't, and then you get mid Sanford coming in like maybe fifth over or sixth over or just after the power play, he's bowling different lines and lids, right? He's not like he's trying to contain at that point, I feel. So maybe he's not as an effective bowler when he's trying to do that as opposed to just, trying to get wickets. I don't know
That's
if that's the case, but that's something I'm ponder about.
that's fair. He's definitely not getting the support yet. Obviously Bumrah's
Right,
absence has a lot to do with that. But
right.
without the appropriate surrounding bowling support, that could be an explanation for those numbers. Wankere could be an explanation for those numbers. Um, so that's another matchup to watch out for. I think that's another area where we can make hay.
Yeah,
Um, and now let's get into the last point, and let's switch a little bit to their batting here. So I found this very interesting. This is the leading run scorers for Mumbai this tournament, and it's what we expected, but I think the numbers are pretty jarring. Sky has
that's good.
scored 28% of their runs,
Oh
171
wow,
out of like 650 odd. I did the math before, but it's
yeah,
about 20. It's a quarter of their runs comes
wow,
from Sky, and I think that's hilarious because I think you and I talk about this. This is the old RCB template where like
yeah,
three
yeah,
guys do all the work. So
right, right. With the big names, right? Like this is exactly that. And I feel like Sky's been a hit or miss, to be perfectly honest, too. Just T20 World Cup, we haven't really seen a whole lot of him after that.
hmm
Not in the ODI outfit. It's I actually don't know where to put Sky right now. Except he batted well last game. Like he looks to be like he's doing what he does. His balance is better, so he's hitting those odd shots much better than he did before. He just needs to be supporting around him. Like there was too much for Harvick to do in the end in the last game.
hmm
And I think the top orders just need to step up and give them a little bit more of a platform. But yeah, the fact that they're so heavy reliant on one person just tells us that that first two wickets in the power play, that's going to put some serious pressure on the middle order there. And we talked about this before too. Collectively they may not look that great, but Sky just has that one crazy game, right? Like he thinks it's a video game or something, and he just like smashes 150 and like
Yeah.
40 balls, and then it's like game over, right? So
Yep. Yep. The the couple things that stood out to me besides Sky on this chart, I mean, Tilak Varma's strike rate. I don't. That's surprising. I mean, we've seen him be very destructive in the past, so I think that
yeah,
goes to our point that he's pretty out of touch. Rickleton had one good innings, I think, against KKR. Even Hardick's strike rate as a finisher, that's not good enough. Will
yeah,
Jacks out of touch. Look, I can be really sarcastic if I want to, but Rohit is out of touch. To be nice. So
yeah. Call it,
I
call it
think
like you see it.
yeah, he's underperformed the IPL for a while now, and this year he's gotten off to a rough start. So there's opportunities to make inroads early, and if we can get Sky in early and out, I think that's a huge pathway. That's our easiest pathway to victory, regardless of whether we bat first or second, because most of the runs are scored by him.
I
And
agree.
so, with that said, let's cue the music. Prediction time. Prediction
Let's
time,
go.
prediction time, prediction time, prediction time. Who will win IPL Match 20 RCB Mumbai Indians Wankhede Stadium? Rahul.
RCB.
Why? How much margin?
Uh, if we bat first, we're probably gonna win it by about 25, 30 runs.
Okay.
If we bowl first, we're gonna chase it probably within the 18th.
I feel good as well about tomorrow's match. This is our first pre-match show, so I don't want people thinking, oh, they're just gonna pick RCB all the time. That's the farthest from the truth, trust me.
Right.
And I think that in a cricketing sense, let's go back to what you were talking about before. Last match, there's some clear disconnect between the think tank, the captain, and the players. I don't
Yeah.
know what that was with Santner. He comes in as a pinch hitter. He is at the other end. Hardik sends him back, refuses to single in the last over. He plays the last ball of the innings when they need the match is out of hand. Totally pointless. Totally kills Tilak Verma's confidence.
Yeah.
There's a clip of Sky who's like, WTF, like, what are you guys doing when
Right.
that happened? And then there's another clip of Hardik kind of ignoring Karen Pollard because he was so heated after the match. Now you have Rohit's coming back into the team out of form. Bumrah coming back into the team, who I think it's a lot to expect for him to just destroy the match on his own. I think 4 overs, 3 for 15 is not realistic with such a long absence. I think his figures are going to be more like 4 overs, 1 for 30, 1 for 35 type
Yeah.
thing. And they, as a whole, 1 through 11, we went through it. They're out of form. Us,
Yeah.
I think we're more in form. I think that we had a bad match only.
Yep.
Now, everybody should also know this. We, just because we say all of this, we're RCBians. We know exactly what the possibilities are. We made fun of Will Jacks being out of form. Don't think that we haven't already thought of ex-RCB guy coming in and killing us again and have that. We
Yep.
joked about it. 25 ball 80 coming up for Will Jacks tomorrow
Yep.
against his old team. So we're aware of the RCB mindset, but from a cricketing sense, I think we will get the win tomorrow.
Yeah. I think the matchups go our way. I think the confidence level goes our way. We're gelled together better as a team. I think as a team, we should do better, barring any individual brilliance. And
Well
that
said.
can obviously take away any game. So,
Well said. I think in 24 hours, we'll be making the post-match episode in the top 2.
there we go. Here's hoping.
Okay, Guru. Barana.
Okay, good. Take it easy.
RCB.
RCB. RCB. RCB.